The court believes that this was good service. But here comes the but.
Oh, God.
But we're going to say that service wasn't perfected.
Perfected?
Yeah, meaning that he wasn't served. So we're not going to allow you to have default judgment.
How do they say, we believe it was good service, but it wasn't perfected? That sounds like a contradiction to me.
It was a contradiction.
And welcome back to another episode of True Stories from a Real Private Eye. I'm your host, Vinnie Coppola. With me, as always, is Lynn Lambdin, a real private investigator right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you so much for being here. This is our 52nd episode. That means we've been doing this for a year. We've only missed two weeks. One, because my house was wrecked from a water pipe bursting, and the other one because it was Christmas. So I think we're doing pretty good, Lynn, and we thank you guys so much for being here. We do appreciate it.
Well, Vinnie,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How's your week, Vinnie?
Oh, it was good, man. It was good. Can't complain, and not gonna, even though I can.
Well, if you're like me, Vinnie, nobody wants to hear you complain anyway.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's absolutely for sure.
Yeah. Well, this week, Vinnie, I thought about it, and I think we've touched on this in other cases on service of process, but I thought we'd talk about the full case this week.
Okay.
And talk about the case law involved.
Give them the full story.
Give them the full story.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is a gentleman that I was trying to serve, and he kept avoiding me and running from me and just causing me a headache. And every time I'd knock on his door, he would turn his TV up a little bit louder.
I think I remember you mentioning this case. Yes.
Yeah. So I convened with the attorneys, and
I can't. You know what? It's funny. I can't even believe that he thought that worked. That would work.
Well, it did work for a couple times.
Yeah.
And
but turning the TV up, he's most definitely there.
Yes. So what I did was I recorded our phone conversation. I called him on the phone, and first of all, I called his sister, and his sister said, "Yeah, he's there." And then I called him, and he answered the phone, and you could hear that he was inside, and he hung up on me. And so I'd knock on the door, and he'd turn the TV up, and I was videoing on my phone, this was back, I don't know, 15 years ago. And I'd knock on the door, and he'd turn the TV up, and I'd knock a little louder. And I mean, I was banging the door, and I would kick it with my foot to the point to where it was just the bottom of the door was just bouncing. And he would turn the TV up a little bit louder, and I was doing it intentionally because I wanted him to turn that TV up as loud as he could. Yeah. So I actually seen him come in and run in the door, but I couldn't get to him in time. And there's case law out there that says that if I know you're there, if I know and I can prove that you're there, and it is your duty to submit to service of process. If I introduce myself and tell you why I am there, as an adult, it is your duty to submit to service of process. That is the law in the state of Georgia. And that law has been around forever. It actually went through the courts, through the Court of Appeals, up to the state Supreme Court, I think back in 1973. Wow. And it was upheld in 1997, Jacobson versus Garland out of Whitfield County. And where a Whitfield County sheriff, I think it was Whitfield County sheriff tried to serve a woman, or tried to serve a man, and his wife actually shut the door when she found out what the sheriff was doing there. She shut the door as to not accept service, so the sheriff couldn't hand it to her, thinking, well, if he can't hand it to me, then he can't serve me, so therefore I'm not served.
Genius.
Genius. Yeah, exactly. Genius.
Yeah.
So this gentleman, so I waited for this gentleman to turn his TV down, and when he turned his TV down, I yelled to him that who I was, why I was there. I was there to serve him with service of process, and that I would be leaving it at his door. So I had two recorded phone calls, one to him and one to his sister, and his sister telling me he was there, and one to him. And I also had video of every time I knock on the door, he would turn the TV up. So
and
I had
hear it, and you could hear it clearly in the recording.
And you could hear, you could hear the TV. Yeah, because I would bang on the door real hard and then he would turn the TV louder. And that's why I was banging on that's why I would bang on the door hard.
Yeah.
It's because I'd want him to turn that TV up loud enough that you could hear the TV.
On the recording, yeah.
Yeah. And his mistake is there was a window right by the door.
Right.
So yes, I could hold the phone close enough to the window that you could hear the recording, and that was the purpose of me kicking the door louder and louder and louder, was to get him to turn the TV loud enough to prove that there was somebody on the inside.
Yeah.
And then me visually seeing him going in and giving a description of what he looked like, and his truck in the driveway with the tag number, and me taking a picture of the tag and then showing that the tag belonged to him.
So in other words, no reasonable doubt whatsoever.
Exactly. So
I mean, all this evidence that he's there.
Yeah. So he didn't answer the lawsuit. The insurance company. So when you serve, this was a car wreck, and so when there's a car accident, the lawyer will send the once that you've been served, they will send the lawsuit to the insurance company, letting the insurance company know that the defendant has been served.
So this guy was at fault.
Yes, this guy was at fault. Okay. And the insurance company would not settle the lawsuit, so they had to serve him would not settle the case, so they had to serve him with the lawsuit to go to court, to have the court hear the case and determine who was at fault and what the case would settle for, or what the case was, a judgment in the case.
Yeah.
So
just an insurance company being an insurance company.
Insurance company doing what insurance companies do. Exactly. So we serve him, and he has 30 days to answer. So the insurance company didn't file an answer, or he didn't turn it over to the insurance company, or whatever it was. So there was no answer filed in the case. So after 30 days, you have 15 days to pay a penalty and open default, because you're in default after 30 days. So there was no penalty. So they didn't pay an open default. So after the 45 days had passed, the law firm that I was working for, the attorney that I was working for, filed for default judgment in the case. So all of a sudden, the insurance company got interested and says, well, we don't want a default judgment. We're going to say that you didn't serve the guy because there was not good service because the guy wasn't home. So we bring our evidence in and we present it to the judge, and we have a female judge, and nothing against women, but I hate female judges because they rule with their heart. They don't rule with their mind.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
So we serve the guy, and I mean, we go to court and we present all of our evidence, and we lay it out. We show and we give our evidence to the insurance company, and prior, because you have to disclose your evidence. You can't go in and surprise them. You have to disclose. So we gave all our evidence to the insurance company. They knew what we had. We had the videotape. We had their phone recordings, because in the state of Georgia, it's a one-party state. I could record any phone conversation that I'm involved in. So I recorded my phone conversations. And I had the video recording of me banging on the door and him turning the TV up and all this other stuff. And
that's all. I mean, that's the benefit to being right.
That's
you got nothing to hide, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Here's what we have. Here you go. Take a look at it. Yeah.
Take a look at it.
Hide anything, right?
Yeah. Well, you would hope that it would entice the insurance company to go, okay, we're going to lose this, so we're going to go ahead and make you an offer and hopes that you would accept the offer and settle the case.
Right.
Well, the insurance company, I guess, having the judge in their back pocket, says, well, we're going to let the judge decide. So we go to court and we're in there, a half a day, and we're arguing this case. And I go up and I testify, and the insurance company's attorney they try to drill me, and they call me a liar, and I'm going, just watch the video. Just watch the video. How do you know it was him?
Yeah.
Well, I got a recording of his sister. Here's the video of him turning the TV up. Here's the phone call of him answering the phone and admitting that it was him and hanging up on me. A reasonable person would determine that it was him, would come to the same conclusion. So, after 4.5, 5 hours in court, the judge rules, because we didn't have, it was just a bench trial where the judge rules, and the judge goes, okay, we believe that you served him. We believe that he was in the house. We believe that it was good service. The court believes that this was good service. But, here comes the but.
Oh, God.
But we're going to say that service wasn't perfected.
Perfected?
Yeah, meaning that he wasn't served. So we're not going to allow you to have default judgment.
How do they say, we believe it was good service, but it wasn't perfected? That sounds like a contradiction to me.
It was a contradiction. That's why I don't like female judges, because they rule with their heart, not their head.
Yeah.
She said,
most female judges, right, Lynn?
Most female judges, Vinnie. Most female judges, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there is a few that will rule right down the spine of that book, buddy. They go right down the center of the law.
Yeah, I get it.
She says, we want to hear this on the merit of the law, of the facts. We do not want to hear this. We don't want a default judgment. We want to hear this on the facts of the case. She said, so we're going to set service as of today.
See, okay, wait a second. Maybe I don't understand, because to me that sounds like you got to reserve him.
No, we didn't have to reserve him. She just said service date is going to be today. So she
determined. Oh, so now he's served
as of today. Yes, exactly.
That makes no sense to me.
Why have a law?
Yeah.
The law, Vinnie, says that once that you're served, you have 30 days to answer that lawsuit.
Right.
And if you don't answer that lawsuit in 30 days, then you have 15 days to pay default and pay the penalty and open default and answer the lawsuit. And if you don't do that within that 15 days, once that 45 days run, the 30 plus the 15 is 45, then it's done. Then you're in default, and then the plaintiff gets a default judgment against you. That's what the law says.
This episode is brought to you by Simple Funding, LLC. For all of your pre-settlement funding needs, contact Simple Funding, LLC to receive your money promptly. They're a customer-centric legal funding company that provides exceptional funding solutions at affordable rates. Simple Funding covers a diverse range of cases, including car accidents, slip and falls, worker compensation, medical malpractice, wrongful death, and more. They recognize that life goes on and you need to access your funds immediately, which is why they offer clients a swift and efficient process with minimal documentation requirements. For more information, visit simplefundingllc.com or contact them directly at 678-855-6232.
I think that's fair.
Well, the judge said, yes, you perfected service, but we're not going to accept the law as written. What I'm going to do is say that, yes, you proved that you served him, but we're going to set that aside and say that service date is today, and he has 30 days from today to answer. And that was in DeKalb County State Court.
Here's what that sounds like to me. That sounds like a woman who is, Well,
Paid off by the insurance company?
paid off by the insurance company. Yes, that was my second one. That was my second thought. Either paid off by the insurance company or just incapable of making a decision for whatever reason. Didn't want to be the bad guy, or didn't want to. What was this guy really good looking or something? And she was attracted to him. What? She didn't want to get him in trouble.
He was.
I mean, then that's it. She was paid for. She was bought.
Well, Vinny, let me ask you this. Why would the insurance company take a chance of arguing it in court if that's the law? And we have all this evidence, videotapes, phone recordings, and everything else that kind of seals your fate.
And why would a judge, and why would they want to, push it back further? Isn't that just more money tied up?
Well, I mean, I guess they thought that if they could win the default, get it out of default, they could win it on the facts. Or if they lose it in the default judgment, then we get. I don't know. I don't know.
That sounds like a big gamble.
Well, what I mean, if I would have been the insurance company, I would have made a reasonable offer to the defendant or to the plaintiff, and I would have said, okay, here's your medical bills of this. I'll offer you this to settle the case. That's what I would have done, because we ended up winning the case and we won a nice judgment on the case in the end. So
here's another scenario. The insurance company slipped this judge a little money. Hey, set service from this date, postponing the whole thing. They got another 30 days, 15 days, whatever the whole thing is. And they're hoping, the insurance company is hoping, they're just playing the odds that you and the lawyer are just going to go away.
I guess. I mean,
that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Well, I mean, I don't think that they think that, because if me and the attorney goes away, then what happens is the plaintiff just hires another attorney.
Yeah.
But in default judgment, if with the default judgment, then so let's say that you have $25,000 in insurance. That's all the insurance that you have purchased, and it goes into default. Then the insurance company loses that limit. So if we get a default judgment for $250,000, then the insurance has to pay the $250,000. Then the $25,000 limit is gone.
Right.
So that may have been why they rolled the dice, or that may have been why they paid the judge off. I mean, whatever the situation was.
That's the only thing that makes sense. I mean, but either way, no matter what the situation is, it stinks of corruption.
It smells of corruption. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, why else would they make that decision? I mean, why else does the judge make? I mean, why else? Why not stick? But all the attorneys that you talk to in the state of Georgia says that judges want to hear the case on the merits of the facts and the merits of the case. They don't want a default judgment. And everybody if you run that case by 15 attorneys, 12 of them will say, well, that makes sense because the judges in the state of Georgia wants to hear the facts of the case. They don't want to win on a default judgment. But why have a law then?
Yeah.
Why is there a law? Why do you have that law that says it has to be answered in 30 days? Then that law's useless.
Yeah.
Then I don't need to answer a lawsuit in 30 days.
Oh my gosh, it makes my head hurt. Yeah.
If I don't have to answer it in 30 days because you want to hear the facts of the case, then I can take 5 years to answer it.
Yeah.
Then if it's the merits that you want to hear the case on, and then you're just going to waive the 30-day limitation on when I have to answer that case, then why have it?
Yeah.
I mean, because in this one, we had you dead to rights. Service was there. It was perfected. The judge admitted that we had served it and admitted that we had proved our case, but said, well, we're going to say that you served them today and we're not going to hold them in default. Makes no sense.
Yeah.
And the firm that I was working for didn't go on the 46th day. They waited to the 60-day mark to make sure that they were really in default. They didn't go 46, 47, 48 days. They waited to the 60-day mark just to show that they were really in default, because the judge will give you anybody 45, 46, 47, 48 days, 50 days. Smart. They'll say, okay, it was only 47 days, 48 days. We're going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
so they waited till the 60-day mark just so the judge couldn't say, we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And then they turn around and say, well, you've proved your case, but we're going to say today's the day that you served them, which, you know. And then me and the attorney went to lunch. I mean, we walked right out of the courthouse, walked right across the street to this little sandwich shop and sat down and discussed the case. And both of us bitched the whole time and just couldn't believe that the judge done this, and going, man, that really sucks. I mean, that really, you know, we had them dead to rights. And, you know, I mean, we really prepared our case. We really put it together. And I asked him, I said, are you going to appeal this? Because you have the right to appeal this, because that's a bad decision. And that judge is really stepping out of bounds by doing that. And he goes, nah, we're just going to let it roll. We're not going to appeal it. We're just going to go with it, because we can win the case on the merit of the facts. The facts of the case is in our favor, and we're going to win it on the facts. So there's no need for us to appeal it and hold it up for another 3 years in appeals court. We're just going to go ahead and win it on the facts of the case.
So do you think that the insurance company was kind of hoping that by, okay, well, now we're going to affect service as of today, so he has another 15 days. Do you think that the judge did that based off of being paid off, because that's what it looks like to me, in order to make you guys go away? Then maybe they hire another lawyer, and then they got to start this whole process again. They just make it go away, and they make it go away and make away and hope. And do you think they're just playing the odds? Because that's what it sounds like.
No, I think that they thought we didn't have good service. First of all, I think that they could prove that we didn't have good service.
The insurance company thought that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that they thought we couldn't get good service.
They didn't even look at anything you had. They didn't even look at the tapes. They didn't look at the pictures. Nope. They didn't look at anything.
Nope, they didn't look at anything. I think that they thought.
Okay, see that I didn't even consider that.
No, I honestly think, Vinnie, that they thought that they were dealing with an amateur process server. Let me tell you something. In my business, probably 75% of the process servers are amateurs.
Yeah,
they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
They half-ass everything, and they'll throw it on the doorstep and walk away.
Right.
I had a process server show up at my door 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And I have a Ring video camera.
Yeah.
And I wasn't home. And when she showed up, I answered my Ring on the phone. And she started with this nasty mouth. And I said, I'm not home. I said, can I she rang the doorbell, and I said, can I help you? And I seen that she had something in her hand, and I said, I'm not home. Can I help you with something? And she said, you're home. I said, no, ma'am, I'm not. I said, I said, as you can see, I'm on the Ring video camera. I said, I'm not home. Where are you at? I said, ma'am, that's none of your business. I said, what can I help you with?
Yeah.
And she starts cussing me and telling me I'm an effing idiot and all this other stuff. And I said, what can I do for you? I said, I see that you have papers in your hand. What can I do for you?
Yeah.
Oh, you're just an effing idiot. You're just an effing idiot. And I said, okay, thank you. So I knew that she was serving me because I could see the papers.
Right.
So I looked up the papers of. I went and found out who was trying to serve me with papers. I looked up the court docket, and then I looked up the law firm who was on the paperwork, and I looked up who was serving papers for them, and I found out who their process server was, and I Googled her. I mean, I found who she was, and I done a skip trace on her, and I called her, and I says, "Ma'am," I says, "You know that you was on my Ring video, and that's recorded." And I said, "Those papers better go away." I said, "If you ever show up at my house again," I said, "if anybody shows up at my house again, or," I said, "if that lawsuit is not dismissed within 24 hours, I said, I will take this video to the judge of you and your demeanor."
Yeah. Good for you.
And I said, "You will never serve another paper in the state of Georgia again."
Yeah.
That wasn't me. I didn't show up at your house. I said, "Okay." I said, "That's fine. You're on video."
Yeah.
I said, she said, "You got the wrong person." I said, 24 hours.
Yeah.
She said, "You've got the wrong person." I said, "Okay." I said, "That's fine. Have a good day."
Yeah.
Guess what?
It was dismissed.
It was dismissed.
This episode is brought to you by the Accident Attorneys of Monge and Associates, voted the best law firm by the American Institute of Trial Lawyers. When life hits you hard with a serious injury, don't let insurance companies hit you harder with lowball offers and endless runaround. You deserve justice. You deserve compensation. You deserve to win. The Accident Attorneys of Monge and Associates have a high-powered legal team with a nationwide reach and the highest rating on the National Attorney Rating Service. Trial Magazine calls them one of the most influential law firms in America. They win big. Big results at trial court, appeals court, the state Supreme Court, and are recognized as award-winning litigators of the year. The Accident Attorneys of Monge and Associates handle everything so you can heal. Don't face this battle alone. The aftermath of an accident is traumatic enough. Medical bills pile up, pain overwhelms, emotions run high, and that's where they step in to shoulder the legal fight while you focus on what truly matters, your recovery. They are the first law firm to offer a bigger settlement guarantee. If they can't beat the amount of your current settlement with a bigger settlement offer, your legal fees are free. Ready to win your case? Find out in one phone call if you have a case and how much your case is really worth. Call the Accident Attorneys of Monge and Associates today at 1-888-477-0597 or visit them online at becauseyouwanttowin.com.
I bet that was an awkward conversation.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Mr. Attorney, I showed my ass at the client's house. Can you dismiss this because I'm going to be, I'm not, yeah.
I'm going to be out of job. I'm going to be back at the Gap or something, whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
Ridiculous.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So I, so it was either, she was either going to, the lawsuit was either going to be dismissed or her career was going to be over. And so the lawsuit was dismissed.
So you're saying 75% of process servers are amateurs like that?
Yes. And so basically,
and so that's what the insurance company was betting on.
And that's what the insurance company was betting on. And they didn't think that I had put my ducks in a row, and they didn't think that I'd done my job properly.
Yeah, that's a tough gamble, man.
Yeah. And so they didn't even look at the videotapes. They didn't listen to the recordings or anything. And so when we showed up in court and we had our ducks in a row, and see, that's why I've always been successful in this business, Vinnie. That's why I've never had any trouble getting a job, is because my reputation, everybody knows that if they hire me, that I'm going to do it correctly, that I'm not going to be one of these goofballs. They know that I record my stuff. They know that I show up, and
you're respectful.
I'm respectful. I don't show up acting like this. I don't mouth off to people. I do my job properly, and I've been in front of the judges enough that I don't even have to show my videos anymore. The judges just take my word for it, you know.
Right. That's great.
Matter of fact, I have been referred by many of the judges' secretaries. I get calls from attorneys, and I go, "How'd you hear about me?" And they say, "Oh, judge's so and so secretary referred you."
That's great.
Yeah. So
That's great.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, word of mouth is the best way to get. I mean, it's foolproof. You know.
Well,
yeah, he's good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, especially when it's the judge's secretary referring
Yeah.
you.
Especially when it's the judge's secretary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the best, especially when you've pissed the judge off.
Right. Yeah.
I've been reprimanded by a few judges.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
I've pissed more than a few off.
Yeah. Probably deservedly so, though. They probably deserved it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've stepped on a few toes.
Yeah. But they probably are judges. You're like, you know, they're a little bit. They got a little bit of an attitude on them. Most of them, don't they?
Yeah, some of them do. Some of them have attitudes. Some of them don't put up with much.
They don't like to be proven wrong. They don't like to be, you know, right? Like,
a judge should be a judge. A judge shouldn't be
a judge. Just a judge. Yeah.
Exactly.
Impartial. You know, look at the facts. Yeah.
And I don't say anything to a judge. I would never ever say. Now that's not true. There've been a couple of judges that I've went head to head with, but 99.99999% of the time, I would never ever be disrespectful to a judge ever, and I would never make a comment to a judge. It's always yes, Your Honor, no, Your Honor. Never ever would I disrespect a judge in any way. The only time that I have ever said anything to a judge, it was a magistrate judge who was just a complete moron, had no clue what she was doing, and she told me that she was going to hold me in contempt for something that she had no idea if she could even hold me in contempt for. And she told me to sit in the courtroom until she decided whether she was going to hold me in contempt. And I stood up and walked out, and she told me to sit. And I said, "Are you holding me in contempt?" Yeah. And she said, "I haven't decided." I said, "Well, when you do, come and look for me."
Oh my God. Nice.
I said, "Well, if you're not," I said, "Am I under arrest?" And she goes, "I haven't decided." I said, "Well, when you do, you know where to find me." I said, "You come and look for me."
Yeah. Good for you, buddy.
If I'm not under arrest, you can't hold me.
Yeah.
And she stood there with her mouth open.
Yeah.
And so, and that was over 20 years ago, and I still haven't been arrested.
All right.
So,
good.
You know, that's the only time that I've ever had I've ever mouthed off to a judge. But I have, well, that's not true. The Sandy Springs judge, her and I kind of went, but when she told me if I didn't shut up, I was going to be arrested, I shut up and left.
Yeah.
Like a bat out of hell, I hit the door.
Yeah.
I left so fast that there was smoke coming off my rear end.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But that's the only times that I've ever.
You pick and choose, dude. You pick and choose.
Yeah.
You pick your battles. You're not just a jerk to be a jerk. But what would you say? What would you say the chances are on a scale from 1 to 10? 10 being 100% likely, 1 being not at all likely. What are the chances that this judge on this case, who decided, no, we're gonna act as if service was perfected today? What are the chances she was given some kind of something from the insurance company?
0. I don't think she was paid off.
Okay.
I just think she was ruling with her heart, and I just think that no matter who would have been in front of her, I think she would have done the same thing.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, listen, I think I can accept that. I think I can accept that a little easier than she was paid off, that she was corrupt, you know? Weak. She's just a weak judge. You
Yeah.
know, I can accept that a little easier than she was a corrupt piece of trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The female judges rule with their heart, Vinny. They don't rule with their they don't rule by the book. They rule with their heart, and that's just, you know, and you could just see it in her face. She's going, well, you've proved your case, but, and when they come with that but, you know, that just, the hair on my back stood up, you know. And you know, it's just one of those. I don't think she was paid off. I don't, you know, I think the insurance company just thought that, oh, this dumb process server, he don't, you know, he just knocked on the door. He got tired of showing up at this guy's house. I think the guy lied to him and said that he showed up 100 times and I never answered the door. And he just threw it at the door, you know.
Yep. Thinking that they're not going to do their due diligence. Thinking that you and your team didn't do your due diligence, that he could just get away with making up bullshit. Yeah, that makes sense. See, that makes sense.
Yep.
Holy cow.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what happened, Vinny.
Yep, he's just a liar, just trying to get away with something.
Yep. He thought he was going to beat the system.
Just thought he was going to beat the system.
And the judge said, you've proved your case, but
weak.
Yeah, and the attorney said, he says, I said, are you going to appeal it? And he said, no, because we can win it on the facts. He said, this is not a case that we're going to lose. We can win it on the facts.
Yeah.
And I think the attorney that the insurance company had was just a bad attorney. And if the judge would have let us go into default, the only thing that would have helped us with is the insurance policy. But they had a nice insurance policy anyway, so it didn't really hurt the case.
Right.
So, you know, it turned out that we won the case anyway. It just took longer for the client to get their money. You know.
Yeah.
Just one of those things. You know.
Right.
But we did win it.
Yeah. Okay,
but you know, but I mean, in the state of Georgia, you know, it is your duty to submit the service when you know what the process server is there for.
Yeah.
So you can't hide behind the door. So
turning up the volume on the TV.
Yeah. So if I knock on your door, and I know you're there, so that's the key. I have to know you're there. And you have to know what I'm there for. So if I knock on your door, don't open the door. Just say, when I say, is Vinnie Coppola there? Just go, oh, he moved. He don't live here anymore.
Right. Yeah.
So no.
The other thing I learned from this podcast is if you go, hey, this is private property, you got to leave.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Process server has no right. If you say, even a sheriff, if the sheriff is on your property, you can tell the sheriff to leave your property.
Right.
It's private property to leave. Unless he has a warrant, he can't be on your property if you tell him it's private property.
Yeah.
Just because he has service of process in a civil suit doesn't give him the right to be on your property.
Aha.
Yep.
There's some tips for you outlaws out there.
That's right. Yeah. Just because he has papers. That's only. I mean, unless he has a criminal warrant signed by a judge, he has no right to be on your property if you have it posted as private property.
Yeah.
Now he can come on your property, and if you tell him to leave as private property, don't come back, and he comes back, you can have him arrested for trespassing.
Holy cow!
Even a sheriff.
That's great.
So he has to have a warrant just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But if you're just there to process, he's just there to serve you.
Yeah. Now, the difference between a police officer and a civilian process server is if it's an emergency, he can enter your property. So if a police officer can enter your property in an emergency, and a civilian can't.
For example, what if there's a fire?
If there's a fire, or if it's a life-saving for crime, he can enter your property.
Okay.
Something like that nature. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're being served and you don't want to be served, don't have an emergency. Just little tips for you.
Yeah. Don't do anything to get served, Vinny.
Yeah.
Just,
that's the big lesson here.
Yeah,
just don't break the law. Just don't break the law.
Just don't do anything to get served.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what I do.
Yeah, me too.
I just don't do anything.
I've never been served. Never.
Well, I've been served a lot, but most of the time
you're in the business of that type of stuff.
Yeah. People show up to serve me with subpoenas and stuff, and you know, if they just call me, I just tell them to, you know, they don't need to, you know, just call me and I'll make arrangements.
Yeah, you don't have to come all the way out.
No, just I'll accept. I'll accept. Just email it to me or fax it, and I'll sign and accept.
Yeah.
I'll just tell the attorney. I'll just tell you what attorney it is, and they'll accept on my behalf.
Yeah. This was another fun one, Lynn. I always learn something new. I just love doing this so much. We hope you guys had as much fun listening as we do, telling these stories, me asking questions, finding stuff out. Hey, man, if you like stand-up comedy and you like goofy videos, check me out online. My website is Vinnie.com. That's www.vinnie.com. All the links to all my social media is there. If you're looking for someone, if you're trying to serve someone, give Lynn a call. He is the best, ladies and gentlemen. Tell him your website.
www.lwias.com.
Yes, and thank you, Simple Funding and the Accident Attorneys of Monge and Associates, for sponsoring this episode. If you need their services, give them a call. Let them know you heard about them on the podcast. We appreciate you being here once again. We'll see you next week.